Now, 3 big companies have announced that they are planning to make their delivery services more sustainable. Mashed Al Futtaim, Talabat and AVIS are working with ONE MOTO and the electric delivery service Motoboy to make their services more sustainable. The strategy will test the performance of the bikes in real-world scenarios. To discuss the plan, I'm joined now in the studio by Adam Ridgway. He is the CEO of ONE MOTO, who make these electric vehicles. And like I said, he's here in the studio. Hi, Adam. How are you doing?
Really well. Thank you so much for having me.
This is a big deal. I love the fact that you didn't just start with one company, not just Talabat, but you've got Mashed Al Futtaim, you've got AVIS as well. I mean, this is really the start of the electric bike revolution, isn't it?
It is. It's been about 2 years. There was 2016, I identified a problem and thought, is anyone producing electric delivery vehicle for motorbikes? And then being a bike rider for so many years, I looked at these battered, bruised, beaten up delivery bikes and then looked at the riders' welfare. And so we started doing this research, turned into a white paper, then fast forward in prototypes, and then we launched in December 2019. So the past couple of years have been really busy.
They certainly have. I mean, the fact that you've managed to get these 3 big companies have they agreed to a pilot, or are they going all out and buying the bikes?
Well, this is exciting. So the big names that you've just mentioned are customers. So they've already bought the bikes. They're on the roads. They're servicing customers. And it's amazing because I get photos from friends and, business contacts that send me photos of bikes they see. So which is really amazing to see them on the roads. But there's also so many that are trialing them, from private restaurant groups to F&B outlets to logistics last mile companies. So other than just the big names, there's also a lot more that realise there's a huge difference that can be made.
Absolutely. I mean, are we talking thousands of petrol-powered motorcycles being taken off the streets? Can we talk numbers?
Well, yeah, let's go into some numbers. So there's 63,000 delivery bikes on the roads in the UAE.
Okay, I think I see half of them every day. Yes,
absolutely.
They're everywhere.
There's around 20,000 on the roads in Dubai. And if you look at the environmental impact, there's around 168,000 tonnes of CO2 which are produced by motorbikes. So they're 50 times more harmful to the environment than SUVs and buses. A lot don't realise this. And with the amount of forest... Can
we just say that number again? Because it's only just sunk in. 50% worse for the environment than SUVs. 50 times?
Yeah.
Than an SUV, than one of those horrible trucks?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's absolutely shocking. And when we've been working with the governments, even they didn't realise the per capita harm. And you look at the sort of forests, that the amount of carbon sequestered would take 808 square kilometres, which is basically from Dubai Airport to Yas Island. Every year, that amount of forest is being killed off by just the petrol motorcycles that deliver our goods every day.
Whoa, okay. I mean, I had no idea. You think of a motorbike having quite low emissions, but is that just not the case? Is it because they accelerate fast off the lights, or just that the engines aren't very environmentally friendly?
Yeah, I won't get too technical, but as a combustion engine, you have a loss of power, a loss of energy. There's a discrepancy between sort of the output and the combustion part of the engine. So they are per capita worse. Everyone thinks that motorbikes are quite harmless because they're only little, they're only on the road over there. But yeah, they are significantly harmful. Amazing.
Okay, and so you've got at least 20,000 of these bikes in Dubai alone, 63,000 across the UAE. How many of your electric bikes are out there at the moment on the roads?
So you're going to see, we've got some more that are en route, but you're going to see 582 by the end of August.
That's a decent chunk of change for a new market.
It's quite a high percentage. Yeah. And we've got this global vision, but a mission that's local, and that's to electrify all last mile vehicles in the UAE by 2024. Demonstrating the UAE take action before COP28 and really sort of align ourselves with that agenda. But we do have quite an audacious goal.
I mean, it's amazing. The reason why I get so excited about it is because first of all, it's satisfying, the idea that you aren't getting those carbon emissions going out. Second of all, I really worry that the salaries of these delivery drivers have gone down sharply and continue to go down every time petrol prices go up. And I mean, they went up again sharply this month. And while I'm in my Volvo that's downstairs, probably getting a parking ticket now. I've noticed the cost of fuel going up, and I'm not the primary earner for my family. And also, I'm sitting here nice and snug in a radio studio with the air conditioning going, while these drivers are out on the streets dodging SUVs in the heat, and they're seeing their salary fall really quite dramatically. Is the reality that the electric bikes, you charge them up for free? Is that the difference?
Yeah, I'll give you some more stats. So in January last year, the delivery riders were paying about 3,800 dirhams a year from their own pocket, their gross salary, in fuel. As of July the 1st, it's 9,900 dirhams. So it's about 29% of their gross annual salary, which is, crippling. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've spent a week as a delivery rider meeting well over 100 delivery guys, just finding out sort of how their welfare could be improved. And then from the rider's side as a stakeholder, and then aggregators and fleet operators, 3PLs, we then try and work very collectively and collaboratively to find a solution. But the rider's salary is a big problem.
And is it real that the electric bikes are free to charge, or just cost a lot less to charge?
Tremendously less. So 10 dirhams will get you 1,000 kilometres.
10 dirhams?
Yes.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, so our vehicles have swappable batteries, so you don't need the infrastructure that comes with, say, the Tesla or electric cars in general, or electric vehicles in general. So you can charge with a standard 3-pin socket.
So you plug in, plug out, you could swap over speedily while you're waiting for a delivery almost?
Absolutely. Around 10 seconds you can swap out. And there's so many 3-pin charging sockets all throughout the city. We've probably got the biggest network of charging infrastructure globally. And the vehicles can charge up during a lunch break or whenever they need.
Okay,
or if they need.
I'm a journalist. I have to find a downside, okay? So let me try and find one. Are they expensive, these bikes?
They're a third more expensive on CapEx. But then if you look at the return on that CapEx investment, it's around 3 to 5 months. So significantly less. They're around 74% less costly than running a petrol bike.
Okay, so normally with your Talabat delivery drivers, do they rent their bikes or do they own them?
I'd say there's a spectrum of different arrangements. So the majority of aggregators, the likes of Talabat, Careem, Deliveroo and so on, they will use 3PLs, third-party logistics companies that provide the bikes or the bikes and riders. So that's usually how it works. There are some aggregators that are now purchasing fleets themselves. There's also 3PLs that have a library or an asset list of petrol vehicles that they're now switching to electric. Then there's some direct customers that don't want to use 3PLs anymore because there's no management of, say, the rider welfare, and a lot more people are taking a lot more care and responsibility and accountability.
Yeah, we've spoken to companies like that who choose to have their drivers in-house because that way they know exactly what's going on. I mean, you must be in talks with those 3PLs and the aggregators, because I suppose that's where that's your fastest build market. I suppose that's where you're going to build up your sales the quickest, rather than just with individual restaurants. Absolutely,
but it's for everyone. So certain restaurants might want 5, 6, 10 bikes, and we need to make sure that we can service those. They might want to lease 5, 6, 10 bikes, so we need to partner with a company like Motorboy, which are the first EV 3PL. So we recommend them because obviously they're a customer and they do a great job and they really do look after the rider's welfare. And then with the aggregators, supermarket chains, grocery, logistics, there's a lot of conversations happening.
I bet there are. I mean, I had a really interesting interview yesterday with the head of Dubai Taxi Corporation, the CEO. He was talking about how they're planning to introduce Teslas to their regular fleet. They've already got them in the limo fleet. And he was talking about the service centre that they have. And he's like, you look at the normal taxi service centre and you've got this was his words, an entire supermarket of kit in order to mend it. Then you go into the Tesla space and it's like a corner store because you hardly need anything to mend a Tesla because they basically don't go wrong because they don't have as many moving parts. Is it the same deal with electric scooters?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked this. So there's 94 parts in our vehicles. And we've created this very novel approach to servicing after sales, because obviously customer service and the experience is a big part of our values. And we've created a series of video guides to train an infinite amount of workshops to then upskill them to be ONE MOTO EV engineers. And we've started piloting this. It's working well throughout this country as well as all of the other countries that we're expanding into.
How about the design of the bike? Are they I know when I was driving a scooter, I had a little Piaggio and I could put some stuff in the back, but certainly it wouldn't take one of those. Well, I'd be wobbly if I had a big box like the guys have here. Have you designed those scooters to be delivery bikes rather than just joyriding bikes? Sorry, I wasn't joyriding. I was a commuter. I did not joyride, I commuted.
You were wheeling down the high street, weren't you?
A little bit. I like the pavements, a little bit of it.
The delivery bikes, or Biker, which is the brand of, or the model of delivery bikes, are specifically designed for delivery. And then we have two others, the Commuter and the Elector. They're for more domestic, private commuters, as you'd say. And then we've just signed an agreement very recently with RIT Dubai to create the UAE's first smart mobility and innovation centre right here in the UAE to design and develop 3 more hyper-modular vehicles. So it's very, very exciting.
We are discussing the fact that there does seem to be something of an electric scooter revolution quietly going on behind the scenes, or maybe not so quietly, because Majid Al Futtaim, Talabat and AVIS have announced that they are working with ONE MOTO and the electric delivery service Motoboy to make their delivery services more sustainable. There's more than 500 of them out on the roads at the moment. And to discuss it, I have Adam Ridgway in the studio. He's the CEO of ONE MOTO, who make those electric vehicles. Adam, thanks for staying with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good,
I'm loving it.
Well, if you'd left, I wouldn't have known what we were going to do. We had another 10 minutes with you booked in. Now, just before we came off air, you briefly mentioned this exciting new centre that you're going to be opening. It's a partnership with the RTA, is that right?
It's RIT
the
Dubai.
RIT. Now, who are RIT Dubai?
So they're a university out of New York, and they've got a faculty or a campus in Dubai Silicon Oasis. And we've been working really closely with them for maybe 18 months now. And Dr. Youssef, who's the guy in charge up there, has built this incredible team. And we went to him and said, look, would you be interested in developing an innovation centre, an R&D academy, if you like? And it then sort of evolved over many months of conversations to be, why not let's go all out and create a smart mobility and innovation centre, the UAE's first. And it gives the engineering students something vocational to work on that is going to have an end course, because we're also in very final discussions to build the UAE's first EV assembly and manufacturing facility in Dubai. So all of that combined has created this incredible partnership that you've got the world exclusive on it. The press release doesn't come out until next week.
Thank you very much indeed for that. But that is extraordinary. You're going to, so not only have you got this innovation centre, but I mean the news of a proper factory, that's a big deal. Will the factory look like a factory? Do you have robots putting these bikes together? I presume you do, right?
They're human beings. It's going to be semi-automated. But with we're not there yet. We're in sort of deep discussions with 3 different parties. But yeah, there's a big part of our brand value, and really at the core is sustainability in more than just the environmental sense. But with everything we do, we're governed by and audited by a company called Future Plus out of the UK, and we positively impact 15 out of 17 of the SDGs right now. So it really is embedded in our DNA. So the facility, the initial assembly facility, is going to be very sustainably built, operated, and so on.
Okay, so the Innovation Centre, has that already started? When does your first group kick off working in that Innovation Centre?
The first cohort starts the week after Eid.
So that's a couple of weeks now. Eid's this weekend, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's such an exciting time. We signed the MOU earlier this week, and it was amazing. It's just come to fruition, and there's so much excitement around what we're building, from our engineering side to their ideas. It's just this spectrum, this kaleidoscope of opportunity. It's incredible.
And so how many students have you got in the first cohort, and what is their mission? What have they got to design? So
with the way that we build our business, which has allowed the scalability, is very modular. So from a management operations side, but also from the vehicles. So if you think about technology is consistently progressing a lot faster than most of us are, that we need to defend ourselves to a part, but also embrace future tech. So at the moment it's lithium-ion batteries. In the future it might be hydrogen, might be something else.
Everyone's very excited about hydrogen. The Dubai Taxi Corporation CEO, he was very excited about hydrogen.
Yeah, there's so much, and there's so much I personally don't know about it. So it's a really exciting sector to explore. So yeah, we're building 3 hyper modular vehicles. So if the way that the vehicles are built, so there's 3 models of 2 types. So you have the, say, low speed, high speed, which those components or several of those components change. But if you have a student on the roads in some country that have smaller amount of disposable income for transport and mobility, then they'll be able to buy a vehicle as they get their first job or graduate and they want to upgrade, then they can replace those parts. And a lot of the parts are using recycled materials, so recycled plastics and the fairings, which are the plastic coverings of a motorbike. And then once we start looking at that, and then those upgrades of, you might have a retrospective design like Electra, or then you want something that's more futuristic like the new commuter, then you're going to be able to replace those parts very easily, very inexpensively, and it allows you then to only ever own one moto. A bit like Trigger's broom from Only Fools and Horses. Keep replacing the handles and the heads and you end up with a brand new broom.
Well, I was thinking that it's a bit like, if you're just starting out, it's a bit like buying the iPhone SE versus the iPhone X, for example. And
absolutely.
But then instead of totally changing the outside of the iPhone, because let's be honest, they all look the same, you just change what's inside. You have a faster chip or whatever it is. It sounds absolutely fascinating. And how soon regionally do you think that you will be expanding? Because obviously you're making a massive footprint here in the UAE. Have you got your eyes on future expansion around the Saudi, for example?
Yeah, it's really kind of you to say that. It has been an incredible journey. So 2020, when we saw a lot of companies retracting, managing budgets and really withholding their investment, we decided to do the opposite. And I think Warren Buffett, I read something somewhere and I thought, let's just go all out. Let's see if we can create this distribution network. So since then, we've expanded into India, Sri Lanka, UAE, Europe, Latin America with Colombia, Chile, with another 8 countries that are in conversation. And Saudi being one of them, Jordan, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Nigeria, Kenya. So there's quite a big expansion plan ahead.
The UAE government must be, I don't know, have you had any engagement with the UAE government, because they must be hugely enthusiastic about all things sustainable at the moment with COP28 fast approaching.
Yeah, I was actually invited. I was really privileged. I still don't know why they invited me, but the PMO invited me over to the UK as part of a delegation of the UAE to meet various different excellencies of the British government as well as from Dubai. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
There was some that have already heard about One Moto and heard about me and what I've been saying, banging on for a couple of years now. And yeah, various different government departments from DTC to RTA, the Supreme Council of Energy, Dubai Future Foundation. There's how we collaborate is one thing. When we collaborate is definitely something we need to look at. But it is encouraging, definitely.
Really exciting stuff. A pleasure to have you in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us, taking the time. Adam Ridgway, the founder of One Moto. They make those electric vehicles, which are now going to be used by 3 big companies right here in the UAE, Majid Al Futtaim, Talabat and AVIS.
This is The Agenda with Georgia Tolley.
On DubaiEye 103.8, the UAE's #1 talk radio station.